Well, hello and welcome to the Relief Valve Podcast, the Sunday Shitbag Roundup. I hope that intro was a little better sound-wise than what I've been getting lately, because I've been getting a lot of, double feedback, so I hope that's good for everyone. And so much news to get to, and some interesting things that are near and dear to me as far as learning about conspiracy theories, which is the Illuminati and the Knights Templar. And you're saying, oh, Matt, the things that didn't exist? No, they did. And we're going to get into it. So welcome to the Relief Valve Podcast, a Sunday shitbag roundup. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Matt. What do I have the mostest of? I don't know. You decide. Is it nothing? Don't be a dickhead. We're filmed in front of a live studio audience. What? No, boo. Boo, no, boo you, a live studio audience. This is why I shouldn't do it in front of a live studio audience. So much news to get to, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy the show. We're brought to you by Buzzsprout and I Love What I Do Media. Buzzsprout is the company that handles my uploading for my audio format. And, I'm still learning. I'm a 40-year-old white guy trying to figure all this out, all right? I don't have anyone else. I have my kids that are teaching me how to do the TikTok and shit, and I'm, incrementally learning it. But I'm still kind of dumb as far as the rest of it goes. But we're streaming live on YouTube and Rumble, so please subscribe, comment if you have questions and you want to participate in the show. And I want to build the following on Rumble, because there's a lot of things that I can't say on YouTube. It's a truth suppression format, and unfortunately it's the largest one currently, and the best way for me to get the show out. But the same as Crowder and the same as other online content creators, I want to eventually move to Rumble, which is a free speech platform where I can talk more freely about everything and not be limited, like COVID-19, vaccines, and etc., which will get me strikes and get me into trouble. So please like on all of them, and then eventually I want to build my following on Rumble. So please, even more importantly than the YouTube, follow on Rumble, subscribe to the show, comment on there as well, and follow me for updates. And eventually I can stream independently to Rumble, and I don't have to worry about the YouTube and the other things anymore, because YouTube will always be a leftist shithole company that wants to keep the truth from you. And that's exactly what they're doing in many aspects. And if you haven't figured that out already, there's not a lot I'm going to be able to tell you that's going to be able to help you. But if your mind is open and you know what they're doing, you're already aware that many things are limited on YouTube. And then the audio portion, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. We're fixing the RSS feed for Spotify. I'm still going back and forth with them and the other company to fix that feed. And then many of the other smaller platforms, audio platforms that I'm not necessarily familiar with, because Buzzsprout kind of just, so I pay for all of this out of pocket currently, which is why I say, please tip your news disseminator, because Buzzsprout has been the best experience that I've had. I've tried other platforms, they've been bad. Their customer service has been awful. Their tech support has been awful. I haven't been able to upload shows properly, and I've had a lot of problems with other streaming platforms. So when I went back to Buzzsprout after experimenting with them, Buzzsprout was the best experience I had. Their tech support and their customer service is usually back to you within an hour. And they have a resolution for you, and if not, you can go back and forth and you can come up with it. These other places, they can't or they won't, unless you're more of a big-time platform, and maybe they'll dedicate more time to you. I was using, as an example, Podvine previously, and they suck dick. So don't use Podvine, because they're fucking awful. They're in Sweden, and it was Sven, who was writing back to me 2 weeks later to tell me that he fixed my problem, when in fact nothing was fixed. So Podvine sucks dick. Don't use them. Use Buzzsprout, because they upload to all the audio platforms properly. I don't have any issues with them. The only reason I'm having to fix the Spotify issue is because it's still attached to Podvine. And then, as I previously stated, Podvine sucks dick. So the Buzzsprout is an affiliate sponsor for us. So if you click their link on our show and you want to start a podcast on your own and you're interested in talking about whatever issues or whatever interests are important for you, go to Buzzsprout, use my link. You'll get a discount on starting your own show and getting a certain amount of time a month and get it going, and they're really helpful. They're great. Keith at I Love What I Do Media, he's an amazing creator of online business web pages. Not to mention all the ins and outs of doing everything. For my show, he's created so much for me and continues to do so. Graphics, backgrounds, the GIFs I'm using for the show, and more as we go. Keith is great over there. He's really experienced. He knows what he's doing. Keith, you can email him at Keith. Go to ilovewhatidomedia.com. Message Keith and see how he can help you get your business started or expand it online by creating your page. They're all really helpful. All right, so let's get into the news here. So for our conspiracy theory is the biggest thing that I've introduced to the show, and I'm happy about it. So we're going to be talking about, we've gone through several conspiracy theories already, all that ended up being true, right? They've been proven true. These ones, we're going to go back in time even farther for these ones because they've been of particular interest for me. So it's been the Knights Templar and why Friday the 13th is a bad day, right? So everyone goes, oh God, your birthday's on Friday the 13th? Well, hold on. I got to go to work today and today's Friday the 13th? Where does that come from? Well, why does anyone give a shit? What does it matter that it's Friday the 13th? It's just another day and it's just another number. So where does this come from? So we're going to get into that later on in the show in our conspiracy theory portion of the Knights Templar. And basically, there's a couple different theories, or there's several that are out there that are all just dumb fucking shit about why Friday the 13th is labeled as a bad day. But really, if you want to get to something that survives the test of time and is the reason that you say it to date, but you have no idea why you say it, like what is it? A rock in the hand is worth two in the bush, or something like that. Fucking, kill two birds with one stone. And then someone says, what does that mean? And I go, I don't know. It's more fucking efficient if you use one rock and you kill two birds with it. Why would you want to do that? I don't know. It's just more efficient if that's what it is you're trying to do. But all of these traditions come back from that. And then we're going to delve into why Friday the 13th is synonymous with the Knights Templar, and both existed, and Friday the 13th was the date that this thing happened, and we're going to get to it later on in the show. All right, so let's jump right in here to some stories that I wasn't really able to get to last week. So for anyone that really pays attention to politics, this is a little bit of old news, and it's the corrupt Biden regime is absolutely corrupt. Dementia Joe is corrupt. Hunter Biden is corrupt. His brother is corrupt. Biden's brother is like Robert or something. I don't know. But they're all corrupt. They're all accepting money from and kickbacks and pay-ups from Ukraine and Burisma, from China, from all over the place. I mean, as a politician, why does Dementia Joe live a better life than most Americans? Why is he a millionaire? Why does he have multiple homes? Why does he live as good as he does? And it's because his crackhead piece of shit son, Hunter Biden, has been paying for other countries, and I've gone over this on previous shows, and any other show that you follow has likely gone over this to one degree or another. And it's Hunter provides access from other countries and other businesses to his father. It dates back to when his father was vice president of the United States under Barack Hussein Obama, the wannabe terrorist who hated this country, and then up to present date where he's the corrupt president of America. So more information is coming out now. We have an IRS whistleblower, and this is the story we're going to get into, about this corrupt family. So, Twitter users and Republican figures had intense reactions to an alleged whistleblower claiming that the Biden administration is intentionally mishandling the Hunter Biden investigation. Fox News confirmed that attorney Mark D. Little penned a letter calling for whistleblower privileges regarding his client, an IRS criminal supervisory agent. The letter read that the agent previously made legally protected disclosures at the IRS and stated that these disclosures contradict sworn testimony to Congress by senior political appointees. My goal is to ensure that my client can properly share his lawfully protected disclosures with congressional committees, Little wrote. Thus, I respectfully request that your committees work with me to facilitate sharing this information with Congress legally and with the fully informed advice on counsel. Now, remember, the Democrats love whistleblowers when they're working to their advantage, and they offer them special protections. There's laws in place for whistleblowers to protect them if they come out with information against a strong, high-profile person so that their lives aren't ruined, they aren't attacked, or worse. So this one is coming out against the corrupt Biden regime, and of course they're upset about this. So this whistleblower is bad. But the other whistleblowers who came out against Trump or came out against others, like the shitbag whistleblower from the Supreme Court who blew up the Roe versus Wade decision, which we still don't have the information. Justice Alito is saying he has a very good idea of who it is, and they believe it's an intern from one of the shit leftist colleges who is working for one of the leftist shit judges in the Supreme Court. That is likely the one that leaked that information, and that's absolutely illegal. But that person, to date, and it's been months now, that they haven't been brought to justice for leaking that information. But this whistleblower is bad, because they're talking about the corrupt Biden regime. So let's continue. Social media users quickly shared the breaking news, with many wondering whether there could be any political fallout regarding Hunter's connection to his father. Of course there's fucking political fallout. What do you mean you're wondering? What are you, fucking brain dead? And whether mainstream media will report it. Radio host Mark Simone remarked, major breaking news, a whistleblower exposes a deep cover-up in the Hunter Biden investigation and involvement of Merrick Garland in it, and of course, corrupt Lester Holt, who doesn't even mention it on the evening news. Former Homeland Security Under-Director Michael D. Brown wrote, read this, every civil servant who has this kind of information is willing to come forth should be afforded every protection available under the law. Congress has a duty to hear the information and consider it in whatever or any investigation they may or may not pursue. They cover up Hunter Biden's many real crimes, and they indict President Trump over fake crimes. Which is correct. Are you watching? The left is so hell-bent on winning that they're eroding the rule of law and turning us into a banana republic. And banana republic is just a reference to, like, it's like a small communist island country that they're dictatorial over all of their populace and everyone else, and that's how they maintain control. That's kind of the rough explanation of banana republic, like a Cuba or a Venezuela or something like that. So former Missouri Attorney General candidate Will Scharf tweeted, they cover up Hunter Biden's many real crimes, and they indict President Trump over fake crimes. Are you watching? The left is so hell-bent on winning that they're eroding the... I already read that. All right, so if a whistleblower has information on a Democrat, does it even count? Conservative account Fusili Spock joked. Is that Spock's cousin from Star Trek? Fusili Spock. He's got the face of Spock. So podcast host Monica Crowley exclaimed, the entire system is protecting Joe, Hunter, and the rest of these Biden slimeballs is corrupt to hell and back. That's correct. Republican politicians also called for further investigation into Hunter Biden and the Biden administration's connection to potentially shady dealings. The Biden admin may be obstructing justice by blocking efforts to charge Hunter Biden for tax violations. We know Hunter Biden engaged in deceptive business schemes. GOP oversight will hold accountable anyone in the admin who may be covering up this criminal activity, Kentucky Rep. James Comer wrote. Now, to be clear, there's way more than Hunter Biden hiding his gains of money and tax evasion. This guy's a shitbag who has relationships with underage girls, hookers. He gets brought onto companies that he has, like Burisma in Ukraine, the energy company that he has no experience in, and he's paid thousands, if not millions of dollars to be on the board of directors for these companies, and the only reason he's there is to allow a conduit of access to his father, Dementia Joe. And that's how this company makes money, by selling out the United States. The traitors, Hunter Biden, Dementia Joe, Jill Biden, the most amazing doctor ever in history. She has a doctorate in education. So if you're choking on something on a plane, she can't help you. But she can read you the adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. And hopefully that helps you get through that process. So she's the most useless doctor in American history, and the entire family is corrupt. The cover-up of Biden family corruption has been going for years. Representative Darrell Issa, a Republican from California, tweeted. There's still Republicans in California? It's unbelievable. Senator Ron Johnson, Republican from Wisconsin, agreed. IRS whistleblower claims IRS News is improperly handling the criminal investigation into Hunter Biden and alleges preferential treatment. I'm shocked. Kudos to the whistleblower. I hope more come forward so the truth can be exposed. It's past time for a special counsel. So, Biden is way overdue to be impeached. He has the failure in Afghanistan. He's a criminal, and his son is a criminal. He tried to affect the midterm elections by going to Saudi Arabia and asking them to lower oil prices so that it favored Democrats in a positive light to the American voters. And then Saudi Arabia just hates Biden because he's a piece of shit. And he's fist bumping the guys and disrespecting them instead of giving them a handshake and dealing with them on a leadership level. And I don't care if you think the leadership of Saudi Arabia are pieces of shit, or you want to face them equally, level to level. You should be approaching that diplomatically, and he didn't do that. And he abused his authority in order to help the midterms go in favor of the Democrats. And the only reason it didn't work is because Saudi Arabia told him to go fuck himself. And they're still doing that. They're getting together with other countries, and they're slowly degrading or getting rid of the American petrodollar. So, we were on the gold standard before, which was the gold that was in Fort Knox. Right? You remember hearing that. All the gold in Fort... You couldn't convince me to do this for all the gold in Fort Knox. We don't go by that anymore. We don't go by the gold standard anymore. So, the standard of the American dollar is primarily based on oil. And it's eroding now because of the corrupt Biden regime. Because we're alienating all of the other oil-producing companies while weakening ourselves in oil production. We could go to Alaska, we could go to Texas, we could go to other states and other countries, mine that oil for ourselves, and make sure we're stable and comfortable until we eventually find other more green, more efficient energy sources, and we don't need crude oil anymore. But in the meantime, America could be very safe and very comfortable with producing our own. But we don't. We go to Venezuela, which is a communist country whose people are eating dogs. We go to Saudi Arabia, who doesn't like us either. But they're making money off of us, so great. So now these other countries are getting together, these OPEC countries, which are these countries who are major oil producers, And they're coming together and they're saying, do we really need to accept the American dollar? Can we accept something else? And they're looking into that. They're pushing that now. And that's a story that I can get to in another show. And the American petrodollar is suffering. Petro for oil, that's what the UK calls it. But and if that tanks, then the American dollar really, we're not going to be any different than the yen or the peso in Mexico or anywhere else. It's the American dollar is going to be important to us, but no one in another country will give a shit that you have American dollars. It's important right now because of its value in what it buys. So the corrupt Biden regime is just taking us more into the failure of the American dollar. And their push also for... Why is my nose so itchy? I know when your palms are itchy, that means you're coming into money. What does that mean when your nose is itchy? That you're a fucking asshole? Maybe. But our government, just like China's government, pushed for their cryptocurrency, right? Their digital currency. No more paper bills. And our government wants to do the same thing. Dementia Joe has already launched a committee into looking into if we can do a cryptocurrency for America, and then you'll buy into that. And I think it's Max Kaiser and others have said they're eventually going to push for this. And then their incentive to the American people is going to be, look, get rid of all of your dollars. Get rid of all of the paper money that you're currently using. Come over to crypto, American cryptocurrency. Will not only, you can log into your account, we'll give you an app. You can see what's in the account. And on top of that, for doing it, we'll offer you bonuses, right? We'll offer you 5 times, 10 times what's in your bank account currently if you decide to join into American cryptocurrency. Now, I'm not saying that Biden's corrupt regime has said that. I'm saying Max Kaiser and others are suggesting this is a way they could go. And as an incentive for the American people, you go, well, hold on. I've got $1,000 in the bank right now. Of physical money that you've made electronic. But if I convert to your American cryptocurrency, you're going to turn my 1,000 into $5,000? Or you're going to triple or quadruple it and put it into 10 grand? Sign me up. A lot of people are going to go, I'll go for it. Or you have zero in your bank account, but they tell you, hey, convert to cryptocurrency, which is not going to be tied to anything. So, I mean, you can give someone $1 million and it won't really matter. Right? So, you can say, well, listen, sign up now. You get a $5,000 bonus. Then you get $5,000 more in 6 months, but not dollars, the cryptocurrency. And just switch to that and don't use the money anymore. And they all want to get off of paper money and switch to this cryptocurrency, all of the countries, if they can eventually worm their way into doing this. But then, like how China does it, this is where the danger is, because you're probably thinking, wait a minute, they're going to take the $1,000 I have in my account. They're going to triple or quadruple it. And I'm going to have 5 to 10 grand off of my 1,000 when I elected to become part of this program. And what's the downside of what it is that I'm doing? So the downside is the government is in control of all of this now. So if you're a naysayer, if you're someone like myself or others that follow the show, and you're against the government, and you know that they're fucking you over, well, then just like China is doing, if you're outspoken against the government, and your actions are act in an outspoken nature against the government and things that are going on, they'll lower your score, or they'll suspend your access or account. Right? At one point, the credit cards currently, and this is real, we're considering that all of their customers, they might stop them from being able to buy guns because the companies are like anti-gun. Don't buy any more guns. So Capital One or somebody else was going to say, if you try to buy a new gun for yourself with our credit card, we're going to deny the purchase because we don't believe in gun violence. So we're against gun violence. So they would stop you from using your credit card to buy a gun or to buy something else that they disagree with at a business or personal level. So if you convert to this cryptocurrency account, they can do the same thing. They can go, wait a minute, you're a conservative? You speak out against the country? You don't like Joe Biden? You don't like the Democrats? You don't like transgender people? Well, hold on. We're going to limit or suspend your account, or we're going to make changes to your account and punish you based on your political beliefs. Just like these credit card companies who have actually been trying to do this in real life. That's a prospect they can do with the cryptocurrency if they change the money to. So be aware of this. You see that this is coming down the pipeline. You see them talking about it. It's being pushed more in every conversation that's happening. And that's happening for a reason. It's to get you comfortable with it. It's to get you used to it. It's to get you talking about it at the dinner table, with your friends, with your family. It's the same thing as a transgender issue. 10 years ago, if I had said to you, there's going to be trannies everywhere. All the kids in school are going to be trannies. All the high school kids are going to be trannies. All the college kids are going to be trannies. And there's going to be drag shows where guys in thongs and a dress are dancing for your children. You would have said, this guy's fucking insane. Get him a white vest, wrap his arms up, and put him in a padded room, and let's not deal with him again because he's really scaring me. Now we're talking about it and we're having a regular conversation about it. It's the normalization of the topic. So first, they make it normal for you that you're talking about it at the dinner table and in your regular life. And then, when you may not be comfortable with the concept, but you're comfortable with the discussion, it's in your mind, you're now aware that it exists. And then, they implement it after that. That's how the transgenderism started. It went from the early discussions of it, and there's these freakos out there, to all of a sudden we're going, well, should there, if you transition, are you kind of a woman though? Should you be able to compete in women's sports? I mean, you are kind of a woman, you are kind of brave and beautiful. Like, now we're having this talk. Where 10 years ago you would have went, wait, what? What do you mean a guy in a dress wants to dance for my kids? Like, what are you, a pedophile? What the fuck is wrong with you? Now we're going, how does this all work? Where do we say it's okay? Where do we say it's wrong? This is how they bring it into the mainstream and they introduce it to you. It's intravenously. It's a needle in your arm, and they slowly pump that drug into you. And then eventually it overtakes your system. It takes some time. It's not immediate. It takes some time. And now that's where we are. Okay, so now that I'm off that particular rant, let's go into these multiple crazy shootings that are happening. So last week, I said I was going to talk about this. This was an Alabama mass shooting at, I think it was like a 15 or 16-year-old girl's birthday party. And 3 black guys shot up this birthday party. I've said before in previous shows, the mainstream media will 100% above and beyond tell you that it's a white guy, their background, the last thing they had for dinner, if they're the shooter. When it's black or Hispanic or other, that's the one that did it, a trans shooter, a black shooter, whatever, they're going to go, a shooter of unidentified fucking... But no, we know who it was. It was fucking black guys. Why aren't you saying it? You like saying it's white guys. Why aren't you saying it's black guys? So on this show, we identify the race of the people who commit these acts. Because if you want to blow up the spot of everybody else, let's blow up their spot too. Let's be specific. So Wilson Lamar Hill, that sounds white, Jr., Tyrese Tyreek McCullough, and Travis McCullough will face additional charges on top of the reckless murder in the Dadeville shooting. Alabama authorities have yet to disclose a motive for the mass shooting at a Sweet 16 party. But think about that for a minute. We're doing a Sweet 16 party for my girlfriend's daughter in a couple of months. Imagine if we had to think, okay, I had to say to my girlfriend, okay, honey, hold on a minute. What are we doing security-wise? Because the potential of our drive-by and our shooting is high. Can you imagine having that fucking conversation? Why can't you have a Sweet 16 for a young woman and have zero chance there's going to be a shooting at it? It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's unacceptable. So, continues. That has left the small town of Dadeville reeling after a third suspect was arrested Wednesday. At approximately 2:30 p.m. Wednesday, special agents with the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, Aaliyah coming for you, fucker! State Bureau of Investigation made a third arrest in the connection to the gunfire that erupted Saturday night at the Mahogany, bear in mind this is like a week to 2 weeks ago, Mahogany Masterpiece Dance Studio. So, not that any of this is okay, but a dance studio, not a person's backyard, not a street corner where you're having the party. A dance studio, a private business indoors. It continues. It left our 4 dead and another 32 people injured. Wilson Lamar Hill Jr., no relation, 20 of Auburn, was arrested and formally charged with 4 counts of reckless murder. Aaliyah said, "God damn, Lamar!" At a press conference earlier in the day, Aaliyah announced that 2 brothers, Tyreek, his nickname, Tyreek Sucker McCullough, 17, and Travis McCullough Sucker, 16, both of Tuskegee, have been arrested Tuesday night and both charged with 4 counts of reckless murders as well. Here's the 3 black men right here, or the black young men for our visual viewers right now. So 3 black men, all accused of a shooting at a Sweet 16 party, which is completely unacceptable. District Attorney, so from left to right, Travis McCullough here, 16. Tyreek Sucker, 17, both brothers. And a third suspect, Wilson Lamar Hill Jr. Sucker, you know what I'm saying? The charge in connection. District Attorney Mike Segrest told reporters that the pair would be charged as adults and that prosecutors would ask a judge to hold them without bail. A bond hearing must be held by Friday under Alabama law. He said 4 people remained in the hospital in critical condition and that more charges would be coming. This is Phil Dowdell was shot and killed at his sister's Sweet 16 in Dadeville, Alabama. This is a picture of the young man who was shot by those 3. The prosecutor also shared the heartbreaking account of how the birthday girl, Alexis Dowdell, held her brother as he took in his last breath at her own Saturday birthday party. I'm going to assume she's this one here, the 16-year-old, because she looks young. So mom, younger sister, the 16-year-old at the Sweet 16, and her brother. From left to right, Zeneria Dowdell, Latonia Allen, Alexis Dowdell, and Phil Dowdell. Phil Dowdell was shot and killed. Hold on here. Fucking update on my other system. Was shot and killed at his sister's Sweet 16 in Dadeville, Alabama. Phil Dowdell. Wow, that's quite the name. A star wide receiver, Phil Stavius. A state wide receiver with plans to play college football at Jacksonville State this fall was killed, as were fellow Dadeville High senior Sean Kivia. What's with the names? Nicole Kiki Smith, 17. Why do the black people always have... Why do they all have... these middle nicknames, right? I want to be Maddie. I got to come up with a nickname. Maddie the something something. I got to come up with it. Well, there was one I was using at work, and he was for it was one of the mobster gang members. And now I can't remember it. God damn it. All right, I'll come up with it at some point. Anyway, high school senior Sean Kivia Nicole Kiki Smith, 17, an athlete turned team manager. 2022 Opelika High School graduate Marcia Emmanuel Sia Sister Collins, 19, an aspiring singer who planned to start college this fall. In 2018, Dadeville High graduate Corbin Da Montre Holston, he didn't have a nickname, 23, another former athlete at the school. It was Lexi's 16th birthday party, a sweet 16. There's an uncut cake and unburnt 16 candles that never got lit. Lexi's brother is one of the victims. Segrest said Wednesday. On her 16th birthday party, she kneeled by her brother as he took his last breath. That's what we're dealing with. The message that I want to send is I know some of these victims personally. Some of these kids are kids of friends of mine, people that I went to school with, people that I played ball with and against in the community back in high school, and these are my kids. Here's the son in the picture here. Or another guest, Corbin Da Montre, because that wasn't the brother. Holston, 23, was a 2018 Dadeville High graduate and former school athlete. He reportedly went to the Sweet 16 to check on a younger family member who feared trouble at the party before the shooting rang out. These are our kids. Don't mess with our kids. Don't mess with our kids, the district attorney said. Well, it's your people who are doing this. So it wasn't white people that drove by and shot up this Sweet 16. We talk about equity and equality. We talk about giving ethnic groups breaks from violence. And then you say, don't mess with our kids, don't mess with our kids. Okay, how are you going to fix this within your community? If I have a bunch of white punks who come through town and start causing trouble in this town, I'm not going to go, well, they're white. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to get together with the community leaders, and I'm going to figure out how to stop these people because they're the bad elements in our community. It doesn't matter they're the same race as me. So when you say don't mess with our kids, all right, how are you going to fix it in your community, in the black community? How am I going to fix it in the white community if I have a shooting or a problem? How are you going to fix it in the black community when you have a shooting and a problem? It's real simple. The people of your town and your community need to stand up against these punks and these scum that are doing this. That's all you got to do. Race has got nothing to do with it. Stand up and stop the problem area. If this was white dudes in a drive-by, I'd say stop them. These are black dudes in a drive-by or a shooting or however this happened, and I'm saying the same thing. Stop them. WIAT CBS 42 reported that Moms Demand Action is now advocating for stricter gun laws. These dudes didn't have guns legally. Like, stop the black punks. Stop the white punks. Stop all the punks. Don't take guns away from legal gun owners. Guns got nothing to do with it. They got the guns illegally. Do you think a bunch of gang members that shot up a 16-year-old's party legally possess these guns? After the Dadeville shooting. Additionally, a local attorney told the outlet that authorities are most likely monitoring what happens with the four surviving victims who remain hospitalized in critical condition before announcing additional charges. Right. So if they die, these black teenagers' charges go up. They go from attempted murder or manslaughter to straight up murder. They're being very, very careful to make sure they don't give anything that will help the 16 and 17-year-old get off these charges. They shouldn't at all. If you were involved in a drive-by shooting that just went wrong and you didn't hit anyone, you shouldn't get off of it. Never mind that you killed people, or you killed people at the party. Attorney Eric Guster, who is not directly involved in the case, said of law enforcement's tight-lipped approach so far, they want to make sure the suspects get a fair trial and make sure the victims get a fair trial as well. This is Marcia Emanuel Collins was among the 4 victims killed when shots rang out at a Sweet 16 birthday party in Dadeville, Alabama. So this young man is also dead. Here's a picture of him here. You have multiple people who are injured. Those would be assaults, attempted murders. Those types of charges will be charged against them. So those charges will be piled on with them as well, Guster said. What they are doing right now is waiting to make sure that no other victims pass away. They want to see what the injuries were. And they generally do that in a situation like this, in a shooting, in a mass shooting. There's already charges, so don't make a mistake about that. There's already the shooting charges, attempted murder charges, manslaughter, etc. But when the people are in the hospital, they survive from the gun wounds, and it's kind of fucked up in my opinion, but if they survive from the gun wounds, then it's that charge is going to be reeled back to attempted murder because you failed, but you failed because the doctors in the hospital were good at their job and saved that human being. If there was no hospital and no doctor and you shot them, they would have bled out and they would have died. But so it's going to be reeled back to an attempted murder or the manslaughter, how they're approaching everything. If these victims die while trying to save them in the hospital, that will then be upgraded to a straight-up murder for them. So as fucked up as our system is, that's the sliding graph of where they're going. Attempted murder, manslaughter, I didn't mean to pull the trigger, but I did it, all this bullshit that they come up with. So this was the Alabama Sweet 16 shooting that I wanted to get to a week or over a week ago. Now, we've got 2 stories of murders in Texas. One, the most recent one, is a Mexican national who's wanted in the deadly Texas shooting of 5 neighbors. And he's managed to get away. Props to your fucking police force. But the first one that I thought was interesting, and then a warning to women out there as well. And this is an FYI for all of you. This is look out for yourselves and be aware of what you're dealing with. This is bodies stack up in a Texas city amid fears of a serial killer and rumors of roofie attacks. Rumors of roofie attacks in the Austin area, which Austin has gone leftist. I don't know if Joe Rogan is living in Austin. He might be doing his show from there. And, Texas was traditionally a red state. Austin has gone either purple or blue. And, of course, Austin is now turning into a shithole because any Democratic rule is just criminals get away with everything and the innocent suffer. And that's what Austin, and they've got a bad homeless person now. They're like turning into a mini California. Austin is turning into a dangerous shithole as well. So this is an attack in Austin. There is something in the water. Again and again, men have turned up dead. I warned women, but apparently the men are at risk. Have turned up dead in Austin, Texas. Lady Bird Lake, a stretch of the Colorado River, running through the heart of the city near a popular strip of bars and food trucks on Rainey Street. 4 this year, and according to local reports, as many as 8 in the past 10 months. However, while police say they have found no signs of trauma on the victims or evidence of foul play, experts on the outside say so many drownings in one place would be a striking coincidence. That lake and these bars have been there for years, Kevin Gannon, a former NYPD detective sergeant, told Fox News Digital. All of the sudden deaths have happened at the same time. It's not consistent with normal accidental drownings. Just from the sheer number and the fact that there's so many in a short period of time, I don't believe that it's accidental. Kevin Gannon, retired NYPD detective who investigated the smiley face killers, theorizes, as he's a private eye. Especially when it takes effort to get down to the waterfront from the popular night spot, which is a couple of blocks away. The answers to other lingering questions are likely known to investigators, but not to be public, said John Kelly, a criminal profiler who has interviewed numerous serial killers. I would be interested in knowing what these guys had in common besides Rainey Street, he told Fox News Digital. Did they go to the same bar? Something else that bothers me is that they seem not to be friends. They're all alone. So all separate situations. Austin police identified the latest victim Monday afternoon as John Christopher Hayes Clark, 30. He was pronounced dead at the scene near a dam about 2 miles down the river from where the others were found, closer to Rainey Street. While the investigation is still in the early stages, we do not suspect foul play was involved based on the information we have at this time, police said. The investigation remains ongoing and we have no further information to provide. Christopher Pugh's 21-year-old son, Christian, mysteriously went missing in November 2019 after a night out on Rainey Street in downtown Austin, Texas, and was found days later with serious injuries by the lake. Police found Jason John, 30, dead in a Lady Bird Lake in February, a week after he was last seen on Rainey Street, which has been a popular row of bars near the water. Clifton Axtell, 40, was identified as the man found dead on March 5th. Jonathan Honey, 33, was found on April 1st, a day after he was last seen at a food truck on Rainey Street. Jamie Hammonds of Dash ATX has also raised doubts about the deaths being a series of accidental drownings, and he and Fox News told Digital Wednesday that he's heard repeatedly from locals nightmare stories of getting slipped drugs on Rainey Street. I've been digging into this now for the last couple of weeks, pretty much every day, and the odds of this happening, this many deaths in that one spot, all men around the same age, the odds are pretty astronomical if this is a coincidence, he said. So, I'm going to continue with this, but it seems to me that these are gay men, because how many, why is this all happening? And it's just men who ended up meeting very bad circumstances and in the evenings in a particular area. Concerned residents have voiced their fears of public hearings on social media, where a Facebook group dedicated to the topic has attracted 70,000 members in the past few weeks. There are too many people that have gone missing, Austin resident Christopher Pugh told the Austin City Council earlier this month. There are too many people that have been injured. There are too many people that can walk off. And we still have absolutely no answers as to what has happened to any of these folks. There's too many people that were horribly dressed. I would never dress like that. What is happening? Pugh's 21-year-old son Christian went missing for several days in 2019 after partying on Rainey Street. Search teams found him alive, but in very rough condition, and disoriented in the brush of a hiking trail on the side of the lake, Fox 7 Austin reported at the time. I don't know where I am or what happened, but I know that whoever it was spanked my bottom blue, and I can't sit down I for like a week. One common theme of the drownings in Austin this year is the combination of alcohol and easy access to Lady Bird Lake, which has numerous access points, police said. Many of the access points can be challenging to see at night. They noted that those areas close at 10 p.m. and urged people not to enter them at night. However, investigations into each of the deaths remained active this week. Despite the lack of evidence of foul play, speculation about a possible serial killer has swirled. And it shows one gentleman here. Austin has had one other serial killer in the past, around the time of Jack the Ripper, the Servant Girl Annihilator. It sounds like a porn. What are you watching tonight? I don't know. I'm single. I'm just going to watch the Servant Girl Annihilator. It's not. I know. It's a murderer. It's not funny, but it is a little funny. The Servant Girl Annihilator is believed to have killed 8 women between December 1884 and December 1885. No one was ever caught. The Annihilator is still on the loose. No, is 1884. He's dead. However, the late cases appear to have more in common with recent crimes. The Annihilator is back! Beginning in the mid-1990s, a gang of smiley face killers has been proposed as the source of numerous deaths of young men found in the Midwest. In those cases, young, fit men were found dead in bodies of water after they had last been seen out drinking. Are you young? Are you fit? Do you want to hang out with me tonight? Just don't. Just say no. Just last month, New York City police announced investigations into 2 separate gangs suspected of drugging people in Manhattan bars in order to use the victims' unconscious faces to unlock their phones with facial recognition technology. The thieves drained their mobile banking accounts in apps like Venmo and Cash App. Those rings are still under investigation, although prosecutors have announced arrests and indictments. Just from the sheer number and the fact that there are so many in a short period of time, I don't believe that it's accidental, said Gannon, who, with the NYPD, was credited with more than 1,000 felony arrests, and at the time of his retirement was the most decorated officer in the department's history. This goes on for quite a bit. So, I'm joking around, but my guess is they're gay men. I don't know that for a fact, just to be clear. They could have been men who were affluential, had money, and they were targeted as a result of that. And like they said in that previous portion, if they needed their facial recognition to get into their phone and access their bank account, and then they fought back or obviously struggled, and there was a bad end result. So I don't know that this is a man or gay man that is targeting other gay men. The story isn't specific enough to actually say that. Gannon was later a part of a private investigation into the smiley face serial killer theory chronicled in the Oxygen docuseries, Smiley Face Killers, The Hunt for Justice. While Austin police investigate the deaths, city officials have also addressed safety concerns about the waterfront, installing new fencing, and weighing proposals ranging from adding lights or increasing police patrols. From the outside in, not having been there, it appears to have been targeted, just because of what the numbers say in the location. All in Lady Bird Lake. I'm going to Lady Bird Lake. Just leave me alone, Gannon said. The Austin City Council discussed potential upgrades at and near the Rainy Street trailhead. There's nothing wrong with Lady Bird Lake. Stop trying to control my life. Between the nightlife district and the riverbank, including adding park ranger patrols and stationing emergency responders in the area, Fox 7 Austin reported earlier this month. Pugh, the man whose son was found in the brush after vanishing in 2019, called for cameras to be installed in the area. Protect my son. Protect his bottom. Michelle Gutierrez, whose brother drowned after going missing from Rainy Street in 2018, said at the meeting he believes 12 people have died in similar fashion by his count since his brother's death. His brother, Martin Gutierrez, was an experienced swimmer, according to Herons, where, in my experience, experienced swimmers don't randomly drown. He had swam competitively in high school, he said. I can't understand how somebody like that would just fall in the water and drown, and the answer is they likely wouldn't. So from the fact that they've, in my opinion, have danced around the issue in this is Fox News, who's turning into basically I think they're on their way to being a left-wing news shithole with the concessions they're making and firing Tucker Carlson. The line that we're supposed to read in between this whole story is that there's a gay killer in Austin and he's targeting gay men. That's my opinion. I don't have enough information from that article to make that 100% clear to everybody, but in my opinion, it seems like a gay man or someone with gay tendencies or gay hate even is targeting gay men and murdering them and putting them in the water and whatever. So, originally with that story, I said all women be safe, but apparently all men be safe as well. For the women, watch your fronts. For the men, watch your bottoms. There's a killer out there. What was what was the one? I gotta find this. I have to play this. Hide your kids, hide your wives. Right. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. All right, this has got to be it, right? 2 minutes.
Terrifying moments for a woman who woke up to a strange man in bed with her. The woman screamed. Her brother rushed in to help and tried to fight the offender off. That break-in happened early this morning in the 500 block of Webster Drive in Huntsville. WFF 48's Elizabeth Gemma caught up with the victim. Elizabeth,
hi, I'm Karen. With an awful haircut. And I'm upset about things that are happening in my town. Also, I was overcharged at Starbucks.
And he tried to help around, but the man got away, leaving behind, though, evidence of his visit. Kelly Dodson was asleep with a little girl inside their apartment on Webster Drive when
I was attacked by some idiot from out here in the project.
Dodson says her attacker used a garbage can to climb onto the unit's ledge, open the upstairs window, and then he got in bed with her.
He tried to rape me. He tried to pull my clothes off.
Dodson struggled with her attacker.
I was asleep. I was minding my damn business.
Antoine Dodson heard his sister scream and ran to help.
Oh, shit.
Obviously, we have a rapist in Lincoln Park. He's slamming in your windows. He's snatching your people up, trying to rape them. So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they're raping everybody out here.
The attacker got loose and went out the upstairs window.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your husband, because they raping everybody out here. So in Austin, Texas, hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your husband, because they raping everybody in Austin. So be aware of that. All right. Speaking of things going down in Texas, because they're having problems, Mexican national wanted in deadly Texas shooting of 5 neighbors. Could be anywhere, sheriff says. Well, that's helpful, and that definitely makes everyone there feel better. Cleveland, Texas, shooting suspect Francisco Oropeza is considered armed and dangerous, FBI Houston says. The Mexican national wanted in the execution style of shooting of 5 of his neighbors in Texas remained at large more than 24 hours later Sunday morning and could be anywhere by now. FBI Houston tweeted Sunday morning that the multi-agency search for suspect Francisco Oropeza 38 continues. Reminder, if you see him, do not approach him. He is armed and dangerous. If you have a tip about his whereabouts, call the San Juanito County Sheriff's Office at 936-653-4367. Arriba! The tweet read. Oropeza is accused of shooting and killing 5 neighbors, including an 8-year-old child, in the 100 block of Walters Road in the Trails End area of Cleveland, Texas. At the most recent press conference Saturday evening, San Juanito, I'm assuming that's Juanito, because Jacinto doesn't sound right. Juanito County Sheriff Greg Capers said, all future updates would come from the FBI. FBI Houston also said Sunday that the San Juanito County Sheriff's Office is releasing another photo of Oropeza taken in August 2022, as well as an image of his large tattoo of what authorities say appears to be a female Aztec on his left forearm. Here's a picture of him. Here's a picture of the tattoo. He could be anywhere now, Caper said Saturday evening, explaining how investigators have widened their perimeter from about 5 or square 6 miles to as much as 10 or 20, depending on whether or not he crossed the High Line wire. Authorities found an abandoned cell phone and articles of clothing lying around, and tracking dogs from the Texas Department of Correction picked up a scent and then lost the scent in the water, according to the sheriff. Here's another picture of him there, or a Pisa 38 here. The deceased victims have been identified as Sonia Argentina Guzman, 25, Daniel Enrique Lasso Guzman, 8, Diana Velasquez Alvarado, 21-year-old Julissa Molina Rivera, 31-year-old, and Jose Jonathan, Julissa Molina Rivera, 31, and Jose Jonathan Cesares, 18. Capers detailed how the suspect was known to shoot his AR-15 style .223 outside his home, as evidenced by the number of shell casings in the yard. On the night of the massacre, Oropeza allegedly did so again before midnight, prompting a next-door neighbor to step outside and explain how people were trying to get an infant to bed. The suspect said something along the lines of, "It's his property, he'll do whatever he pleased on his property," according to the sheriff. The man went back into his house. The next thing they knew, he was walking up the driveway with rifle in hand, Capers said. The sheriff told KPRC that Orpiza, a Mexican man, was identified through video showing the suspect going up to his neighbor's door and by a Mexican consulate card. A total of 10 people were inside the home when the suspect entered. 5 of those victims died, and another 5 were not physically injured, Caper said. The sheriff said 2 women who were found lying on top of 3 surviving children who were covered in blood and taken to the hospital, where it was discovered they had been unharmed. So those women were heroes. They were shot and fell on their children in order to protect their lives. Wilson Garcia, a survivor who reportedly owns the home where the shooting unfolded, told KTRK he was the one who stepped outside because his one-month-old was trying to sleep. We had company. We were going to make something to eat. The guy came out, and he was shooting. We asked him to be quiet because my baby was scared, Garcia said via a translator. He recalled telling Oprisa that he would call the police, but before he could do so, the suspect came to his front door and shot his wife Sonia where she was standing. I never thought he would shoot. Then he went room to room looking for people, Garcia said. He couldn't catch up to me. The bullets were hitting everywhere. He couldn't catch up to me. Arriba, arriba, ándale! Sorry. The FBI has brought in investigative resources, tactical, and victim services resources to assist in this investigation. We will be here until we are no longer needed to include when the subject is arrested. James Smith, special agent in charge of the FBI Houston field office, told reporters Saturday night, "We're still out there trying to find this individual. We consider him armed and dangerous, and we're not going to stop until we actually arrest him and bring him into custody. But he is out there, and he's a threat to the community. So I don't want anyone to think something different than that. He is a threat to the community, and we need the community's help to hopefully locate him and soon and take him off the streets tonight. But however, I will say this. We do not ask the community to take matters into their own hands. Please call 911 if you happen to see this individual out there." A judge has issued an arrest warrant for the suspect and already assigned a $5 million bond for when he's taken into custody. There should be no bond. He's a murderer. You're going to let him go home and be like, well, they got me. I suppose I'll watch Matlock. There should be 0 bond. This is left-wing shit judges that are putting shit like this in. Night shift patrol deputies have been initially dispatched to the residence in reference to a harassment complaint. While en route, the communications center received multiple 911 calls of an active shooter incident at the dispatch location. Multiple deputies arrived at the residence and located 4 people deceased at the home. The 8-year-old child was airlifted to the hospital where he was declared deceased. The victims are reportedly said to have been from Honduras. And most certainly our thoughts are with that young child who, I mean, there were multiple young people that were involved in this, and none of them deserve that, most especially the 8-year-old. I've said this in multiple shows, and multiple times in any conversation I've had. There's one thing if adults, older people are shot. It's another when innocent children who could never defend themselves, had never done anything wrong to anybody, are killed. And that really is a tragedy. That there was a 21-year-old, an 18-year-old, an 8-year-old. That's all most certainly. The shooting is wrong, period. But the loss of the very young ones is absolutely horrible. Our young ones should be protected and defended, not lost like this. So, we're an hour into the show already. And I've got so much to do. I can't believe it. But Biden announces his re-election bid. The stuff with Tucker Carlson. RFK running on the Democratic ticket. I don't know. Well, let's see what we can do and go from there. All right, so Fetterman's back out of the hospital from his stint with depression and whatever the hell else is going on with him. I'd be depressed too if I was a brain-dead stroke victim. I would absolutely be depressed. But, you know, there were these things about the a double being sent out, someone that looks exactly like him, that left the hospital and was acting in his place, but this looks like him. So, big dummy Fetterman, like the one from the Addams Family, raises eyebrows with choppy opening statement in the Senate returning, and the quote is frightening. Fetterman's months-long hospital stay began in mid-February. Senator John Fetterman, the big dummy brain-dead idiot from Pennsylvania, raised eyebrows on Wednesday when his choppy opening statement after his return to the Senate. Fetterman returned to the Senate this week after a lengthy stay in the hospital for clinical depression that began in mid-February. The Pennsylvania Democrat, who suffered a stroke on the campaign trail, resumed his chairmanship of the Senate Agricultural Committee's Subcommittee on Food and Nutrition, Specialty Crops, Organics, and Research. This is going to be great. I would love to hear John Fetterman's thought process on the Agricultural Committee's Subcommittee on Food and Nutrition and Specialty Crops, Organics, and Research. I struggle with that because I've had like 4 glasses of rum and coke. Can you imagine what the stroke victim moron is going to have to say on this? You don't have to. Let's find out. Fetterman's opening remarks after his months-long hospital stay were choppy, with users online reacting to a clip of his comments. Podcaster Jules Jones called the clip frightening, while Harris Field's communications director for Rep. Byron Donalds, Republican from Florida, joked about a Democratic California Senator Dianne Feinstein's reaction to the clip. So here is Fetterman, the Addams Family Uncle Fester reject, talking about agriculture. No, I already saved this. Fuck off. Here we go.
I call this hearing of the U.S. Senate Subcommittee on Food and Nutrition, Specialty Crops, Organics, and
Nutrition,
Research.
and stuff.
Order. Chairwoman Sevenow. And Ranking Member Boozman. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Boozman.
I thank you for your leadership on this committee, and I look forward to working with you to pass a farm bill. A farm bill that works for small farmers, rural communities, and hungry Americans. I would also like to thank my ranking member, Senator Ron. I look forward to working closely with you. SNAP is one of the most effective programs to fight hunger and poverty in the country. In my time and effort in IFAS, as the mayor of Braddock.
My time and effort in IFAS. I tried to help Baby Yoda to give him food and snacks. Baby Yoda has been rescued by the Mandalorian, and I'm trying to help Baby Yoda. Fucking idiot.
To the Lieutenant Governor, to now, I have heard from Pennsylvanians about their support for SNAP. Hunger is not a Republican or a Democrat issue. It's all of our issue that we have to take it on. We need to come together and stop playing political games with Americans' access to food. Americans like Glory Jork.
Like Glory Jork and the Mandalorian's friend, the Armorer. I don't remember the name. And Glory Jork and Baby Yoda, who I hope is going to be okay. A fucking idiot.
From the north, the town of Northeast in Pennsylvania, tells me that his victim was skimming, which was somebody stole money and he relied from his SNAP EBT. Mr. George.
Somebody stole money, so he relied on his SNAP because he sold all of his EBT card money to someone else, and now he only has SNAP, and he's upset about it.
It's not the first Pennsylvanian I've heard this from. I fear he won't be the last. And I will work in this farm bill to modernize SNAP to work to recipients in the 21st century. I look forward to hearing from you, your witness on this nutrition assistance.
I agree to. I want to hear from your people with Ted Nugent, and they're going to talk to me about things, and I hope that Baby Yoda's going to be okay.
On the farm bill, and I will now turn to Senator Braun for any opening comments that he would like to make.
Any comments he'd like to make? Hopefully that I can stop talking and I'm having another stroke. So there's Big Dummy Fetterman. He's back again. And shame on you to the people of Pennsylvania. I know that Oz was not a great pick, but to vote in this fucking brain-dead stroke victim idiot into office to take care of real, serious responsibilities? It's absolutely ridiculous. If you hear the chicks in the background, then I did this on the Crowder show. Little sidebar right here with everybody. We have, we're preparing for the future in the prospect of World War III. And we're becoming more self-sustaining at the house here. And so we've gotten 4 chicks, 4 baby hens. And that's all of them chirping in the background if you're hearing them. And I had to move them out of the master bathroom because we didn't have a cover on it. We wanted them to have some freedom and be happy and not be trapped, So they're learning, they're getting more comfortable with short flight. And they were jumping out and then just wandering the bathroom and then shitting all over the place. So my son and I would come home from the gym and I'd go upstairs to use the bathroom and there's just fucking shit and liquid shit everywhere. And then they're all hiding in a corner somewhere. They're like, we can't get back in our bin for food and water. So I moved them to my man town, and you kind of hear them. If you hear them in the background when I'm doing the show, I apologize. A couple weeks there'll be a top Biden official leaving the White House. Another one, they'll be moved out to their coop in a couple of weeks when it's safe for them. But be self-sustaining, Get your own water source, your own food source, your own whatever it is you can do. I recommend it. So, top Biden official leaving. Let's see what this is. Oh, Susan Rice. We already heard about this, to leave the White House. This is American Military News reporting. President Joe Biden's domestic policy advisor, Susan Rice, is leaving her post, the White House announced Monday. She previously served, if I'm not mistaken, in the Obama administration. Rice oversaw a broad portfolio of policy issues and was at the center of controversy on some, including immigration and the southwest border. Biden, in a statement, praised her work on health care, gun violence, student debt relief, migration, and other key items on the agenda. She is so amazing that we are getting rid of her. Because if she gets any more amazing, she will turn into a supernova and blow the White House up. So we have to let her go now. Thanks, Susan Rice, for being so incredibly amazing that we have to get rid of you, or you have to get rid of yourself. So another failed leftist Democrat shitbag is leaving. There is no one more capable and more determined to get important things done for the American people than Susan Rice, Biden said in a statement. That's why we're getting rid of her, because there's no one more capable. Does that make sense? Rice's last day will be May 26th, according to senior administration officials. Biden will consider people from inside and outside the White House. Why don't you get Dylan Mulvaney, the tranny, and have him be the fucking Susan Rice's position to replace Rice, the official said. Before entering the Biden White House, Rice's background was primarily in foreign policy. She served as the United Nations ambassador and national security advisor to President Barack Obama, the anti-American terrorist shitbag. She's the only person to serve both as national security advisor and domestic policy advisor, the White House said. And she has failed at absolutely everything, or she'd still have a job. Biden considered making Rice his running mate during the 2020 campaign before choosing then California Senator Kamala Harris. That absolute fucking failure of a human being. Where's Kamala Harris to comment on all of this? Why are you crazily laughing over everything? It's not funny. Nothing you're doing is funny. You fucking idiot. None of that is funny. Why are you laughing, Kamala? Rice has come under fire from immigrant rights activists who say she slow-walked efforts to roll back some Trump-era immigration policies, maybe because they made sense. The New York Times reported she blamed the United States' generosity toward unaccompanied children for a surge in border crossings in 2021. Many migrant children who have come to the U.S. in record numbers have ended up in grueling jobs in violation of child labor laws. Thanks, Biden! The Times reported. Biden said that on Rice's watch, his administration reversed the harmful immigration policies of the previous administration, which is bullshit because the cages that immigrants are being put in were from the Barack Obama regime. That's who families and Mexican immigrants were being put into, those cages. And then the corrupt Biden regime said that they were Trump's cages, but they've been there all along. And Trump just didn't reiterate that properly in the debates between him and Biden. But it was Barack's cages who Biden is using now to attempt to deal with a small portion of the illegal immigrants coming through. Rice's departure date means that she will remain on the job when pandemic-era border controls, known as Title 42, end on May 11th. Rice has helped craft the administration's policy response to handle an expected influx of migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border when the restrictions lift. NBC News reported earlier on Rice's departure. What's an expected influx? Because I've heard over 1 million illegals have come into the country. And do you know how they're going to vote? They're going to vote with the party that gives them free handouts of taxpayer dollars, and that's Democrat. So if you're leaving Mexico, you're desperate, you're trying to help your family, whatever it is that you've done to make your choice and come here, and you know that it wasn't the Republicans, it wasn't Trump, it wasn't anyone else that gave you the opportunity to get here, it was the Democrats. Naturally, even if you hate the Democratic agenda, you're going to go, well, who helped me and my family get here illegally and gave us taxpayer benefits and helped us live? It was a Democrat, so I'm going to return the favor and vote Democrat. So all of these illegals coming in are going to vote Democrat. If they're not straight up criminals or they're trying to get out of their countries, they're criminals by jumping the border because they're not obeying our laws, and then they're coming here and they're going to go, well, who's the hand that's feeding me? And it's the Democratic Party. So the Democratic Party is doing this on purpose because anyone with a functioning brain in this country won't vote for Democrats. You know that they're traitors. You know that they hate this country. You know that they hate you. You know that them and their corrupt DA, George Soros-backed DAs, are releasing criminals back on the street again to hurt you and your family and all the rest of us. That's the Democrats doing it. It is not Republicans. So you need a voting base that hasn't woken up. You don't need them. You need a voting base that has no idea who you are. They just know that you saved their family and helped them cross a border illegally to come into a country they didn't follow the process for. And that you need to provide a thank you to them. And that thank you is your illegal vote. And that's why those illegals are coming over. So big dummy John Fetterman is back and arguing for stuff that he doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about. So I mentioned that Dementia Joe announces his 2024 re-election bid, saying he wants to finish the job. What's the job he needs to finish, you ask? The destruction of the United States. That's the job. He's transing the kids. He's fucking over our military and getting them killed while we pull out of major hotspots. In Sudan, we're having a big fight happening there, and we can't even evacuate our own embassy because now we're too scared to do it. We could evacuate Vietnam, but we can't evacuate Sudan. And this is Dementia Joe and his corrupt regime fucking it all up. So President Biden, President Dementia Joe, officially announced his bid for re-election Tuesday morning, saying in a solemn launch video that he wants to finish a job he started when the country was besieged by a deadly pandemic released by China. a reeling economic and teetering democracy. That was because of the pandemic. Not the democracy, the economy. That affected. When you're shutting everyone's businesses down because you're saying you're not allowed to have customers and you're not allowed to have anyone there, that kills your business. That had nothing to do with Trump. It had everything to do with the COVID-19 approach to how we did everything. And many small business owners lost their business and their jobs and their livelihood because of a shit government that didn't handle this the right way. Claiming that his presidency has pulled the country back from the brink on all those fronts. You have? Biden underlined his ambition to turn what he had once pitched as a transitional presidency into something far more transitional, like a tranny. We're just going to be the tranny president. The question we are facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom, more rights or fewer. Biden said in his video. Let's watch that video. Here it is. So it looks like a trailer for the new Die Hard movie. It shows January 6th, which was a peaceful protest and people who are upset about how the election handled. It was nowhere near the destructive measure of Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and everything that they did. It was nothing close to that. So January 6th was legitimately, as Don Lemon and Como tried to say on CNN, January 6th was actually, legitimately, a peaceful protest. The other part of the video is abortion rights, because women should be able to kill their kids on a massive scale.
Freedom.
Freedom!
Personal.
I'm Jill Biden's husband, and I have no fucking clue what I'm doing.
Freedom is fundamental to our Americans.
Does anyone notice that he doesn't finish his words or sentences? Freedom is a fundamental to Americans. Why doesn't he finish words? You already know the answer. He's a dementia-ridden fucking retard. He is dead. He is brain dead. The medicine he takes helps him get through questions from the press, debates, or travels on what he does. This man is a brain-dead human being incapable of running this country.
More important, nothing more sacred.
That's been the work of my first term. To fight for our democracy.
It should be a revolution.
Protect our rights. To make sure that everyone in this country is treated equally. And that everyone's given a fair shot at making it.
Yeah, treated equally. As long as you're black, trans, and you identify as some freako, then you're treated equally. If you're white, regular black, regular Hispanic, the Biden administration doesn't care about you. You're a piece of shit. But if you come out as a tranny, we'll throw you a fucking parade, and you can have whatever job you want. You can even have a job within the Biden administration.
But you know, around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms.
MAGA extremists are trying to... my diaper's full. And the MAGA extremists, the thing. MAGA extremists aren't trying to do anything. That's real patriots of this country are trying to defend and protect what this country stands for. Actual freedom. Not tranny freako freedom. Freedom. I fucked up. Or freedom, or these other left-wing freakos who want to destroy your life. We want actual freedom for everyone. Freedom to not have an ideology shoved down your throat. Freedom to live your life the way you'd like to live it and not be fucked over by the government. That's a freedom we want. But that's not the freedom that Dementia Joe and his corrupt regime wants.
Cutting Social Security that you paid for your entire life while cutting taxes for the very wealthy, dictating what health care.
He is the very wealthy. When's he going to give back? When Trump was in office, the president gets $400,000 a year as pay. Trump gave it all up, and he gave it to veterans. Have you heard what Biden has done with his $400,000 a year for payment as president That's what the president gets paid. $400,000 a year as president of the United States. Either a year or as his tenure. So $100,000 a year. It's one of the two. I believe it's $400,000 a year. Has Biden given any of that to anyone? To an organization? To a charity? No, he didn't. Trump did. He gave it all up for his entire 4 years. Did Biden do it? No, because he doesn't give a fuck about you. He doesn't give a fuck about transgenders either. Or gays, or the LGBTQ+. He's the one that said, I don't want my kids going to school in a racial jungle. Meaning, I don't want my kids going to school with people from other ethnicities. Black, Hispanic. He's the one that said that years ago. So he's changed his mind now, and he's Mr. Unity and Understanding, and he's LGBTQ plus minded, divided by sign, ampersand, as Ben Shapiro says, every other ridiculous sign that makes no sense for that whole community. You believe that that's who Joe Biden is right now? Of course he isn't. He's an 80-year-old white guy. He hates you. He doesn't want you near any of his family, his home, his children, his grandchildren. He doesn't want you near any of that. And if you're buying into it, and you think he's Mr. Unity, and he's Mr. Understanding, and he's Mr. LGBTQ+, you're a fool. An absolute fool. You can hate me for my personal beliefs, but at least I'm not bullshitting you about it. Joe Biden's bullshitting you about it. And you're supporting the guy who hates you, but in the public limelight, he's pretending that he loves and supports all of you. And I think any of you that have half a brain know better.
Decisions women can make. Banning books and telling people.
The only books that are being banned are the books that are promoting pedophilia and the love of older men between younger boys or younger girls. That's the books. When he claims books are being banned, books aren't being banned. Illegal books that shouldn't exist are being banned. And there have been parents at school board committees who have been talking and fighting back against this for a couple of years now. And it's the books who tell young boys how to perform fellatio on an older man. Who talk about older men liking little girls. And most of them, honestly, from the radical left, are older men liking younger boys. Because they're all gay, trans, they're all it's the pedophilia. It runs all through that. And they try to hide within that demographic. So you got gay men, and then you got the gay men who are trying to hide on the down low, but like little boys. That's the books that are being banned. Because our children shouldn't be reading these books in school. You shouldn't be able to get it out of the children's library. You have books that are about slavery, who are about America's history, and you should read those because you should learn about how we got from there to here. If you forget your past, you're doomed to repeat it. That was a famous quote. And the left tries to change and eliminate history. They tear down statues. They tear down history. They remove books. They change the wording in all of them. They're doing that currently. That's what the left actually does. They take the wording out of books. They change it. They try to make them more soft and happy and everything else. And they don't care about the time frame that the books came from. Because they believe that you're too stupid to understand the context and the outline of the book. So, The ones that are banning books, it isn't the right. It's the left. It's the radical left. The right is trying to stop the illegal books of pedophilia, of the men who like little boys, or the men who like little girls. That's what they're getting rid of. The blatant books that are talking about that in visual and in written detail of doing inappropriate things with children. So the radical left wing and Biden turn that into the right's banning books. No, we're banning pedophilia, which was already supposed to be banned.
Who they can love. All by making it more difficult for you to be able to vote.
No one is telling you who to love. If you're gay, love whoever you want to love. If you're a man and you love another man and that's how you find love, love that man. If you're a gay woman and you love another woman and that's where you found your love, love that woman. No one is trying to take that away from you. That's what Biden is trying to say to you, to scare you, to think that you're going to lose your rights as a human being, you're going to lose your rights to the life that you're living right now if you put a Republican in charge. No, no one's trying to take that from you. Gay and lesbian rights, we're not talking about transgender. Gay and lesbian rights are secured, they're fine, they're not going anywhere. If you're a woman who loves a woman, go ahead and do it. If you're a guy who loves a guy, go ahead and do it. No one is trying to take that from you. Here's Joe and dumbass Kamala who got her job by sucking dick to get to the top.
When I ran for president 4 years ago, I said we're in a battle for the soul of America. And we still are.
Yeah, we are. We're in a battle to stop you. The country is being destroyed by you. A corrupt old white man who is getting kickbacks from his crackhead son, from Ukraine, from China, and you're fucking over the American taxpayer to do it. So, yes, we are still in a battle for this country, and it's against corrupt Democrats who hate this country.
The question we're facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom.
Well, with you, we're going to have less freedom. When Trump, we had more freedom. He didn't crack down on people. He didn't stop people from living their life and doing what they're doing. And honestly, he probably should have done more. When the riots were happening in Seattle, in Portland, he should have sent in the federal agents to stop all those left-wing Antifa shitbags that were attacking courthouses and attacking people and dragging them out of cars and smashing their heads in and burning buildings down, just like the Black Lives Matter riots. Trump should have sent agents in and federal agents or the military to shut that all down. He didn't do it. But Dementia Joe will do that to you.
More rights are fewer. I know I want the answers, and I think you do too.
Yeah, I do. Not you.
This is not a time to be complacent.
We're not complacent. We're fighting back against you.
That's why I'm running for re-election.
Because I'm a brain-dead old fuck.
Because I know America.
No, you don't. You know how to
I
exploit
know
America.
good, decent people.
Not you.
I know we're still a country that believes in honesty, respect,
Yeah, you
treating
don't have
each
that.
other with dignity. That we're a nation where we give hate no safe harbor. We believe that everyone is equal, that everyone should be given a fair shot to succeed in this country.
Yeah, everyone. Not the black, gay, tranny, lesbian community. Everyone across the board. But what is the Biden regime doing right now? They're focusing on that group. And a white person will lose a job or an opportunity over a black or trans or gay person. That's not equality. That's not fairness for everybody. That's not the best person for the job. It's the most equity-driven person for the job.
Every generation in America is faced a moment when they have to defend democracy. Stand up for personal freedom. Stand up for the right to vote.
Yeah, we are standing up against you, against corrupt dictators like you.
Our civil rights. And this is our moment.
So it's pictures of people living their life as mostly black people because the Biden regime hates white people, even though he's a white person. They're playing basketball. They're living their life. They're at their home. They're doing their thing. That has nothing to do with what the corrupt Biden regime is trying to force down everyone's throat. There's a lot of the black community that doesn't want gay and trans. They don't believe in that. They don't want that. But it's shoved down their throats. But the Biden regime won't show you that aspect. They'll show you the leftist black anarchists who are on his side, who want to defund the police, hate white people, they want everyone to be trans, they want everyone to be all of these things. And that's what he's showing you in this video. And that's not whenever I've seen examples from the black community, I rarely see any of them going, yeah, we love the gay and lesbian and trans community of our black community. I've almost never seen them saying that. They don't want anything to do with it because it's ridiculous. And neither does anyone else legitimately. But that's what the Biden regime is pushing. So it shows him talking to people of ethnic groups. White leftist morons are in the video, and then primarily what he has in here is blacks, Latinos, and others in this, trying to show that he's the all-inclusive president. He hates white people. Unless you're a leftist that goes along with him and you're not going to get anything for it. You're just part of the status quo of idiots. But he's for all the ethnic groups that aren't being treated fairly. And that's what he's showing in the video. Black, Latino, gay, trans, etc. That's what's in this video.
So with me. Joe Biden.
None of us are with you. No one with a half a brain is with you. No one is going to dementiajoe.com to sign up and support your corrupt regime of destroying this country. Stupid laugh.
This is the United States.
This fake white Yeah, we're not doing it together. You're trying to divide and destroy the nation. We're not doing that together at all. You're trying to destroy America, and we're not on your side. And he says, let's finish the job. And the job is the destruction of the United States of America. So Dementia Joe is running for office again. And, we hope he's going to be okay. Right? It would be a darn shame. An absolute horrible shame if he just fell up some more stairs and dropped dead. We don't want that. We're not advocating for that here, the Relief Valve podcast. We hope corrupt Dementia Joe, who hates this country, is going to be just fine. Kudos to you, you old white fuck. Okay. So, where are we at right now? An hour and 38 minutes in. Good God. I'm going to use most of my monthly time in fucking one podcast. So, all right. We got Tucker Carlson. We got the Budlight issue. Oh, boy. All right, so we're going to try and touch on this a little bit and then try and wrap it up. So, as you know, and I said on last week's show, Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox News. They said it was an amicable split. It wasn't. He was fired, let go from Fox News. Don Lemon was let go from CNN. I think anyone with a functioning brain is happy that Don Lemon was fired. He was a piece of shit. Just like Fredo Como. He was a piece of shit, too. And then Dan Bongino also left Fox News, and there's a little bit of gray area in that. Dan Bongino said that it was contract negotiations for how to move forward and what his pay would be, and they fell through and they didn't work out. Other than that, there was no WWE craziness, as he said, and there was no fighting and different things going on like that. But either way, whether it was they let him go or contract negotiations fell through, Dan Bongino left the Fox network and he's just running his own podcast now. And they also let Tucker Carlson go. And it could be, and very likely is, the $787 million lawsuit they had to pay to Dominion. So, and then there's a leftist shithole woman who is taking legal action against Tucker Carlson, having never met him ever physically in her life, is claiming that he was derogatory, and he and the other men or people on his side said things that made her sad and uncomfortable. So she's just a leftist bitch that Fox should be screening these people out, right? CNN isn't hiring conservatives. The View isn't hiring conservatives. They pretend they're a conservative, or they say, well, I used to be a conservative. No, I'm not a conservative no more. No, you were never a conservative, bitch. And these pieces of shit that Fox is hiring, and they're not delegating and going through their information. Well, they're hiring leftist pieces of shit. So some leftist snowflake bitch is going after Tucker for having never met him, but also he said rude and derogatory things that made her cry through her pee-pee. So either way, Tucker was let go from Fox News. Don Lemon was let go through CNN, which is great because Don Lemon's a piece of shit. And then Dan Bongino couldn't make his contract negotiations, and that ended as well for wherever the truth lies in that. So let's go through this a little bit. I'm just going to play some words from Tucker Carlson and we'll move on, because he is going to come out with another, because he founded the Daily Caller, if I'm not mistaken, and then he sold his shares and he got out of it. But he is going to come back in another facet where either it's his own company and he's doing his own brand, or he signs on with another company and he comes out doing news for that. Either way, Tucker Carlson is not done. So the left trying to celebrate that he's been released from Fox News is premature. It's ridiculous. So former Fox News host Tucker Carlson released a statement Wednesday evening that appeared to hint that he intends to stay working in media to cover big topics that are often not discussed on television news. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise, so I'm not going to read this, I'm going to let him say it. So here's Tucker Carlson in his own words after his termination from Fox News, and he has to be careful. I want to provide context to this. He's still under contract from Fox News, so they fired him prematurely before his contract was over, which means they legally have to pay him for the remainder of time through his contract, so he can sit at home, chill, and be paid by Fox News. They've just removed him from the equation. So he has to be careful on what he comes out and says, because he's still under contract from Fox News. So when you hear this statement from Tucker Carlson, it's going to be a little vague. You're going to feel like he said something without saying anything. But he is saying something. Pay attention.
Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind of decent people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also. A lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated. And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state. That's a depressing realization, but it's not permanent. Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this, that's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion, they're resorting to force. But it won't work. When honest people...
So there's something important there. He's referencing major media, in my opinion, and how they handle everything, right? So Fox has gone to the major negative of taking this action and getting rid of their top performer. Hannity, Laura Ingraham, and any of the other talking head morons at Fox are not as popular as Tucker Carlson. And they let him go in order to give in to the left-wing bullshit in the fight that they think they're losing to. And for anyone that are like the video game or movie fans that are out there, when you're fighting a boss and you defeat the first form, and then you unshackle it, and then you have to fight the next form or the next enemy. And Wing Commander was, for all of those out there who are fans of the Wing Commander franchise in the video games with Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker. And you end up defeating the Kilrathi, who have been plaguing the humans for years. And you defeat them and you weaken them. And then the enemy, who has been in the background, is just waiting for this change in the entire atmosphere of the planet or the galaxy or everything, is just waiting for that change. And then it happens and they come in. And there's the worst thing that's waiting for you. That's what happens when you free someone in this situation.
Calmly and without
and you release their shackles and you make them stronger. And I'm not saying this to say that Tucker Carlson is that bad guy in the shadows that gets released from his shackles and now he's coming. But I am saying that he's been released from the shackles. And that's the shackles of Fox News. That's the shackles of a news organization who has shown their true colors. And Fox News has shown that they're just another corporate bunch of sissies who aren't really willing to fight the fight. Because that's what they said without saying it when they let Tucker Carlson go. Tucker Carlson was the leading person in attacking all of this left-wing, anti-American bullshit. And Fox decided with whatever I don't care if it's the stupid leftist bitch that's suing him, or the Dominion lawsuit, or anything else. I don't care which one it is. He's your number one ratings guy. And you decided in order to hit the status quo of the radical left that you needed to get rid of him and figure something else out in your network, and that you'll find a way to even the waves out of that storm, and you'll come back on top again, and you'll be the number one news network. And here's the thing, and the message that I want to express to everyone. Officially now, I say, fuck Fox News. They're a left-wing shithole on their way, on the decline, the same as CNN, MSNBC, and anything else. I said this in a previous show. I'm a guy who believes in one door closes and another door opens. I'm not a glass half empty or half full guy. Don't confuse me for, well, I'm always looking for the good. No, fuck that. I'm looking for the opportunity that got presented because of the situation. Because if you give up every time things go bad, you'll never get anywhere. You'll never accomplish anything. But if you take a negative and you turn it into a positive, now you have a chance to maybe get to another level that you might not have even been able to get to before. And this is the analogy I say about defeating one enemy and then releasing the shackles on another one. You think you defeated the left. You think you defeated Fox and the Conservative Party in general. Fuck Fox. You think you defeated the conservative movement by getting rid of Tucker Carlson on Fox News. And I say you released his shackles and you freed him. And now he's free to attack with a force that you never knew was there or you thought that was coming. That's what I think with Tucker Carlson being released right now. I don't look at this as a loss. I know that the left is celebrating. The people on the stupid bitches on The View. I'm so glad Tucker Carlson got fired, child. My ass is so fat. When I sit down, I take 2 chairs to sit down to support my big ass child. That stupid fucking bitch Whoopi Goldberg, who thought Joe Biden was an actual doctor. That's the ignorant, dumb bitches that are on The View. And they think that Tucker Carlson being released from Fox News is a win for their side. And I say they're wrong. And I say that if you're upset and you feel like we lost, the conservative movement lost, don't. The way I see it is Tucker Carlson has just been freed from the shackles of Fox. And he's going to be in the mood for a little bit of payback. And if you thought that Tucker Carlson was a pain in your ass when he was on Fox News, imagine the pain in the ass he's going to be when he's his own boss in his own network. The same as every other podcaster like myself that's doing the job right now. Imagine when you're unshackled and you can just say what you want to say and fight the fight you want to fight. What they've done is unshackle Tucker Carlson. That's not a loss for the conservative movement. It's a win. Don't put yourself into a depression and think that we took a loss in this situation. We didn't. CNN took a loss when they lost Don Lemon, because CNN is a lying shithole network. So they need lying shitholes to be their perpetrators of news, their propagators of news. Fox doesn't know what it is. It's pretending to be something. And it had Tucker Carlson to help them pretend to be that. Sean Hannity is a right-wing, old dog, old guard shitbag who supports Mitch McConnell and the other shitbags who don't care about any of us. That's who Sean Hannity is. And Laura Ingraham is just an angry white bitch who follows suit with everyone else. They're not going to hold Fox News above water. They're going to drown with the rest of the ship because people already know who they are. Tucker Carlson is the real deal of the Conservative Party. He's that voice and that frustration of all of it. Let's continue.
Embarrassment. They become powerful. At the same time, the liars who try to silence them shrink. They become weaker.
Fox News.
That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
So there you go. There was Tucker being kind of vague, but trying to put a message out there and about what he went through. And because he has to be careful that, because he's still under contract from Fox News, in order to fulfill that contract, get all of his pay for it, he has to be careful of not only get his pay for it, but not be in violation of it and then be sued by them. He has to be careful about what he says at this point, even though they very blatantly just let him go unceremoniously. He didn't even get a final show. He had a final Friday show, which he said, we'll see you Monday. But he didn't get a show to say, I'm leaving. We had a difference of opinion, and we couldn't come to negotiation. So I wish everybody the best of luck in a great life, and we'll see you in whatever other entity we end up being. They cut him off completely, so he couldn't even have a goodbye show. So in my show last week, I said, there's another reason that this is a good reason. And this is the dilution of getting away from left-wing legacy news and going to podcasters like, not to toot my own horn, like myself and others, Tim Pool, Crowder, Daily Wire, etc. Get your news from independent sources who are accountable to the people, right? If you hate my show, the show fails, and I'm done. None of you are interested in it. If Tim Pool's show fails and he pisses everybody off, they all go away, they go somewhere else, he fails. These shows are accountable. Podcasters like myself are accountable to the people. When you support us financially, when you like it, when you subscribe, when you keep watching it, and day to day, week to week, month to month, you stick with the show and you keep following the show, you're the one that's driving it. The voice that I have right now is the voice, in my opinion, that the American people feel that are watching all of these other shows. Why do I say that? Because it's how I felt before I started the show. When I watched a Tim Pool or a Crowder or a Daily Wire, and I saw them and listened to them fighting this fight in the culture war, they were saying out loud the voice and everything that was inside of me. And it's the reason that I supported them. And now it's the reason I started a show. Because I believe the individual Joe and Jane taxpayer voices matter. That's why I started a show. That's why I encourage you to start one of your own as well. Whoever it is, whatever it is you believe in, get your voice out there. And communicate with other people. Let them know they're not alone. Let them know they're not the only one. And it's tough to get out there and give your political values and have this political argument, because the radical left doesn't want to have a discussion with you or a disagreement with you. They want to attack you because they can't argue their point. They can't argue transgenderism. They can't argue the destruction of this country. They can't have a logical discussion with you about that, because it's literally absolute ridiculousness and garbage. So they have to attack you and cudgel you into giving up and then taking their side. And when you take their side, you'll get dragged down below the depths with them. That's why, in my opinion, shows like mine are important, and Tim Pool and Crowder and anyone else that's a conservative voice that's out there and is doing a show like me or like mine. You're not alone. Your voice deserves to be heard, and the people that are in Washington are not accurately representing you and your concerns. That's why it's important. And I know for a fact Tucker Carlson is going to be back within another venue, within another avenue. It's going to be a question of time. And then the girls on The View are going to be upset, child, because we all upset, child. Because of shit leftist things like The View. Dumb bitches who have no clue what's going on. The stupid bitches on The View thought that Jill Biden was a legitimate medical doctor. They wanted her to serve in the Biden administration. Without realizing or being aware that she had a doctorate in education. And I've said this jokingly before. Dr. Jill can't save your life when you're choking on something or you're having a stroke. But she can read you the stories of Huckleberry Finn. And I hope that helps you when you're having a stroke. Joe Biden is a professional, useless human being. And she is riding on that and making money through the corrupt Biden regime and her corrupt husband. And that's how she's living a better life. She could give two fucks about you. Be aware of that when you see all this happening. So, the Daily Wire continues here. Tucker Carlson ouster may sideline him for the 2024 election. This is important too because he's not going to be able to come out in an official capacity and have discussions about the 2024 presidential election. Fox News sent shockwaves through media on Monday when the network announced it was cutting ties with popular primetime host Tucker Carlson, and recent reporting has begun to suggest some possible fallout. While neither Fox News nor Carlson have been forthcoming with an official reason for the ouster, and speculations abound, some have surmised that the move could result in sidelining him for the 2024 presidential election cycle. The Wall Street Journal reported on Monday that Fox News planned to pay out the remainder of Carlson's $20 million per year contract, which was renegotiated in 2021 and reportedly extends into 2024. So $20 million a year from now to 2024. If the network does pay out the remainder of the contract, it is possible that that could prevent Carlson from seeking a platform elsewhere or even creating his own until the contract's term is up. And this is not like evil, Skeletor stuff. This is generally normal. They've just used their brains in taking this action. They've sidelined him and they've cut his voice off. That's the reason the video I played of him was so middle of the road and it didn't really go one way or the other. They've fired him. They do have to honor their contract with him because they decided to fire him. He didn't quit. They fired him. So they have to honor their contract. But also, he has to abide by the termination clause of that contract, which is you can't say certain things, you can't start your own business, and you can't take certain actions. And he will have agreed to that with Fox News within this situation prior to his hiring with Fox. So now he has to be careful with what he says and what he does, and he can't start his own business right now. But when the remainder of that year into 2024 is over, they've paid the amount they're obligated to pay, and he's free and clear. That dude can do whatever the fuck he wants, and he can come at Fox News with both horns. A Twitter user known as @Amus, who authors Politico Republic on Substack, noted that Carlson's contract may have had as much as 18 months still remaining and suggested that Carlson, being benched with that much time left in his contract, could easily prevent him from going anywhere until that time expired, which is what I just said. Here's him with President Trump, but there were messages saying he hated President Trump. There's Marjorie Taylor Greene, the notorious MTG. I love her. The left hates her. I love her. Tucker Carlson's contract was signed in February of 2021, running through February 24 or 25. The desk is reporting 2024. As a result, Tucker will be benched throughout much of the presidential election, and speculation is this was done very much on purpose. Amuse continued, noting that the desk had also confirmed with two sources that Carlson's contract contained a non-disparagement clause, which forbade him from speaking ill of Fox News in public. As soon as that's over, he can shit on Fox News all day, and I encourage that. Fuck Fox News. I say keep boycotting them. Like we're boycotting Anheuser-Busch for supporting Dylan Mulvaney. I say boycott Fox News now. I intend to do the same. As the Daily Wire previously reported, Carlson has retained high-powered attorney Brian Friedman, who previously represented another former Fox News host Megyn Kelly, who is currently representing ousted CNN anchors Chris Como and Don Lemon, those two shitbags. But because Fox News is reportedly planning to pay Carlson through the end of his current contract, the most likely scenario is that Friedman has been retained to assist him in securing his freedom to embark on a new adventure. And that's just what I said previously. As long as Fox honors their contractual agreement, pays him the remainder of the money they owe him for, kind of violating not violating, but they fired him, but they still have to pay him for the remainder of his tenure, whether he's doing something for Fox or not. And he's not, because they let him go. They have to honor their portion by paying him his full fair share. And on his end, he has to not say anything disparaging about Fox News. He can't start his own company, and there are certain avenues he can't pursue. As soon as they've paid the full share, and all parties have hit that end agreement, Tucker Carlson can come at them full bore, and I anticipate that that's what's going to happen, and I cannot wait to see him tear down Fox News. Some of the news I'm getting about Fox News right now is their ratings are plummeting. They've got Kilmeade or somebody else running Carlson's time frame, and Kilmeade fucking sucks. Every other talking head moron at Fox sucks. Fox is going to crash and burn. Especially when they look like they're acting like a leftist shitbag company. Instead of saying, you know what, fuck all you guys. We're keeping Tucker, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing. They seem like leftist sissies right now. A shit leftist organization like CNN and MSNBC. And that's why I say, whatever it is you decide to do, this is one more really big push to leave legacy media. Fox has failed you. You could have heard from the disagreements from one side or the other. You could say that Fox was biased and not biased and fair news and all this other, and then you stuck with them. They have proven to you and to me, without a shadow of a doubt, that they're a biased news agency that you cannot trust. They had the transgender families that they were interviewing and trying to make them seem like they were normal people. That was already showing you they were going in the wrong direction. And now with the firing of Tucker Carlson and not being able to or willing to negotiate with Dan Bongino, they've showed you their true colors underneath anything. And Fox is a piece of shit. Boycott them as you would boycott any other company who was taking actions like this, like Anheuser-Busch, CNN, MSNBC, and Nike, Maybelline, for dealing with, or whatever it was, dealing with Dylan Mulvaney. Boycott them all. And I say, boycott Fox News too. So it continues. It is unknown whether Carlson's contract included a clause that would force the network to use him or lose him, which would allow the popular host an easier out if their intent had been to simply kneel on the ball, forcing him to remain in limbo and off the air until his contract expired. So right now he seems to be in limbo. They could contractually pull him back for the remainder of it, and then he can refuse to negotiate after it's over. But right now, he's in limbo. So we're gonna, we're way over the time frame here. 2-hour show. The longest show I've ever done.
Eternity, motherfucker. I'm just trying to help you.
I'm just trying to help you, motherfucker.
Yes, you do,
yes, you do, motherfucker.
You do need my help, sir. Can't you see that, you son of a bitch?
Could you please just let me check out my groceries?
Fuck you, I'm trying to help you, motherfucker.
Fuck you, I'm trying to help you, motherfuckers. 2-hour show, the longest I've ever done. I'm trying to help you, motherfuckers. So, I've already used up most of my fucking month already. I get 6 hours, I've used 2. This is why it's so important to support the show and why I ask for your help. My PayPal is set up right now on YouTube. You'll be able to see it on Rumble too. You hit the PayPal link, you can donate to the show. On the audio portion, if you hit support the show, you can donate to the show. And I'm setting up a Patreon too, or maybe a Locals. I'm looking into that as well, because Patreon is biased. But if you help to support the show financially, if you enjoy it, you appreciate it, and you want to see more, that helps me get more time, more streaming time, and I can go as long as everybody wants to go. So you can say, this is great, keep going, or shut the fuck up, I'm tired of listening to you. Either one. Let me know which one it is. So we're going to have to pass on Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is running on the Democratic ticket against Biden, and he's saying that trans men, which are just men pretending they're women, in women's sports, he's coming out against that. So I like that, and he's got the Kennedy name, so he could build up steam behind him. So let's go with the Budlight controversy here. This is Anheuser-Busch Company. And I'm glad that the boycott is still going. Conservatives have the unfortunate problem of giving in too early on a boycott, right? So we're all in it, and we're like, fuck that, we're not buying that, we're not fucking doing anything. And then a month or two goes by, and then we go, it's been like 2 months. I can't buy that product. How much longer, what am I did my part. I'm glad that this is going long term. Anheuser-Busch is dropping, they're letting go or firing multiple people that were involved in the Dylan Mulvaney support and promotion. And they're learning that this was a bad mistake, and they're fucking with their consumer base. Also, my hope is other companies, are going to see what Anheuser-Busch are going through and are going to go, let's really think about the move we're taking. Nike is a leftist shithole, child slave run company, so there are no morals for Nike. So they've come out in support of Dylan Mulvaney and him showing off a sports bra, a workout sports bra for women when he's a flat-chested man. So Nike doesn't give a shit, really, unless the boycott got so severe that they were losing money in massive amounts. Nike doesn't give a shit that you're going to boycott them. I absolutely encourage you to boycott Nike. But the problem is, if Nike will hire child slaves in Asian countries to make their shoes, how interested are they in your personal opinion? They're not. They have child slaves. You think they care about morality? They don't have any. Anheuser-Busch, wherever they lean one way or another, allegedly they're a little more conservative, and they're suffering from this. And there's one shithole business who got hit from this. So, the Daily Wire reporting, a bar that booted customers who complained about Budlight trans controversy begs to get customers back. An Indiana bar that threatened to remove customers earlier this month who complained about the Bud Light in light of his decision to partner with the controversial transgender influencer is now begging for new customers because business is hurting. In a now deleted post on Facebook, the Fairfax Bar and Grill, which you should absolutely boycott and never go to, this shithole bar shouldn't have any business at all, zero, in Bloomington wrote on April 11th, "We are tired of all of the hate. We are very open to debate and discussion, and it's truly a shame that we can't have open conversations, and this is an important political and cultural topic. Bars, in our opinion, exist as public spaces where ideas should be exchanged. Unfortunately, due to all the bigotry and hatred that has surfaced around the Bud Light controversy, any patron wanting to voice their concerns about this issue will be immediately asked to pay their bill and leave our establishment." So right here, before I even continue, do not do business with this bar. Fuck this bar. I hope they go out of business and they fucking suck cocks in hell. So it continues. The post went as far to say the bar would continue selling Anheuser-Busch products because we don't care who they make special cans for. You're going to fucking care now, aren't you? On Wednesday, the bar published a new post which has since been deleted, as stated in the last 2 weeks. Since sharing a post stating that we will not tolerate intolerance, our social media has been flooded with blatantly transphobic, homophobic, and racist comments. We are inclusive, and we welcome all the kind-hearted customers. Well, I hope all the trans want to go there and buy your fucking beer, because everybody else isn't going to do it, assholes. The post continued. After making that post, the comments on every post since include hate speech saying that transgender people are mentally ill, they're not wrong, biological women are being erased, they're correct, and showing a plethora of disgusting memes. They're not disgusting, they're funny. The bar later said that with the departure of some of our regulars, we have needed new clientele. Ha ha ha! And you have answered, I'm not going to lie. We still need more of you right now, the page said. Please continue to consider supporting us. No! How about you go fuck yourselves instead for your bullshit leftist views? Fucking go out of business. The bar then posted a new message on Thursday addressing his controversy. Hold on, I have a special thing for this, and I need to get to it here. Might be a commercial. A lot has been said. Some correct, some incorrect. From you shitbags, it was all incorrect. And I want to clarify my stance, the statement said. What I really want to convey is this. Just be respectful. Fuck you! How about that for respectful? Different opinions are welcome here, as long as they're delivered respectfully. Fucking blow me. How's that for respectful, you left-wing shitbag bar? We no more want ugly, aggressive, or rude interactions. You're not going to want me as a customer, are you tranny-loving faggots? About which sports team someone thinks is better than about societal issues. We do not and will not censor opinions. You were by kicking the customers out who were conservative. So yes, you did. But we do require civility in this establishment. Fuck you. The statement added. No, I say fuck you. Their statement said the other thing. So if you can't play nice, then get out of the sandbox. Great. We're not going to go to your establishment. I hope you go out of fucking business and proverbially burn to the fucking ground. That goes for everyone. Let's remember why we even gather at a bar. To enjoy each other's company. Not you left-wing faggots we don't enjoy. And raise a glass of civility. How about raising a glass to you left-wing tranny-loving queers? How about that? So, in Indiana, what's the name of this shithole piece of shit bar? The Fairfax Bar and Grill in Bloomington. If you're in Indiana, at the Fairfax Bar and Grill, don't do business with these left-wing pieces of shit. Don't go there. Don't buy drinks. Don't buy food. Don't even walk in the door. Let these left-wing pieces of shit go out of business and financially crash and burn. Show them a message that they never should have taken this avenue. They never should have spoken out against conservatives. They never should have started to step on the throat of people who have a different opinion from them. Make this shithole bar go out of business. And any other shithole bar or restaurant that pushes an ideology like this, put them out of business. In the old state that I lived in Massachusetts, there was an Applebee's that my family and I used to go to, and they hired transgender service. I never went back to that Applebee's again. Because I don't want a dude in a dress and makeup serving me and my family's food. You need to... These shithole companies won't learn until you fight back with the power of your wallet. I'm not saying take violence against them. I'm not saying burn that building down. I'm not advocating for that violence. I can't. I'm saying use the power of your wallet, because that shithole bar and grill can't stay in business without money. That Applebee's that I used to go to can't stay in business without money. The Walmarts that are shutting down in Chicago have been robbed, stolen from, to the point where they make no profit. and they're shutting all those locations down. That wasn't a boycott of them. That was that community in Chicago fucking them over. And now the result is they're shutting the locations down and they're leaving. What that shows is your actions affect those businesses. So for this shit bar and grill, for that Applebee's in the other state, don't give them your money anymore. Show them that their actions are wrong. You shouldn't have those people there and advocate for that ideology, right? It would be like that Applebee's hiring pedophiles to be their servers there. Would anyone want to advocate for that business? To eat your dinner with your family there? No, of course you wouldn't. And I don't want to transgender a dude with balls in a dress and makeup serving my family. I don't want that. So I'm not going to give you business, which is my right, is my money. And that's what you all need to do. Teach these left-wing shithole businesses that this is your thought process. Great. Go out of business. Bye-bye. We're going to go to another bar. We're going to go to another grill. We're going to go to another restaurant. And you, fuck off. That's what needs to happen to these left-wing businesses like Anheuser-Busch, working with Dylan Mulvaney, Nike, working with Dylan Mulvaney, the shithole bar and grill, supporting transgenderism. Shut them down. Use the power of your wallet and your money. Don't do business with them anymore. I don't care if you love their food and you love going there. Their ideology is against you and your family and your way of life. Walk out and never go back. They told customers, pay your bill, leave, and don't come back. I say, don't ever go, period. Go out of business. Go fuck yourselves. That bar in Indiana. Fuck you. Okay. So, we are, I think, the longest show I've ever done. 2 hours and 21 minutes. This has turned into the fucking Joe Rogan podcast. Anyone that stuck with it, I appreciate it. Thank you. Please support the show, as I said previously. YouTube, Rumble, hit the PayPal, donate to keep this thing. I can add more time and I can go on more rants. And then the audio portions, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many other streaming platforms. Hit the support the show when you listen to it, and that will automatically take you to the PayPal, and you can donate to the show. Thank you. I would appreciate that, because then I can do more for you guys. This is the longest show I've ever done, ever, since I started. Over 2 hours and 20 minutes. So we're going to finish up with the conspiracy portion of the show, and I know that YouTube is going to fuck me. So bear with me for the likely commercial that's going to show up. Holy fuck, it didn't. It's jumping a little bit there, I don't know why, but I don't have a lag. I don't know why that's doing that. But okay, so for the conspiracy portion of the show, this is something new that I've added in to get away from the news and talking about things that actually happened in our lives, in our government, in our history. This one, which I always thought was interesting, and it was really interesting for me to learn, was the kind of taboo that was behind Friday the 13th. For anyone that's been unfortunate enough to have their birthday on Friday the 13th, and I have, and or have an important date fall on Friday the 13th, and then they go, oh, fuck, it's Friday the 13th, this is going to be a fucking hell of a day, and then you think, why? What's the stigma about it? Why is Friday the 13th such a taboo for everybody? Why do I give a shit that it's Friday the 13th? It's another day and it's another number. Here's a little bit of the history behind why Friday the 13th, why it survived throughout time, and why it's been such a negative day and a negative commentation for people. So here we go. why are Fridays that fall on the months of Friday the 13th day so fearful? Some attribute the origins of the Code of Hammurabi, one of the world's oldest legal documents, which may or may not have been superstitiously omitted, a 13th rule from its list. Others claim that the ancient Sumerians, who believed the number 12 to be a perfect number, considered the one that followed it decidedly non-perfect. One of the most popular theories, however, links to Friday the 13th with the fall of a fearsome group of legendary warriors, the Knights Templar. I'm sure you've all heard about the Knights Templar. If you played Assassin's Creed, you've seen the Knights Templar, or you've read history and you've learned about the Knights Templar. The dudes with the white kind of head pullover thing with the giant red cross on it, the Knights Templar. Okay, this is where I believe, in my opinion, where this stigma of Friday the 13th came from. Founded around 1118 as a monastic military order devoted to the protection of pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land following the Christian capture of Jerusalem during the First Crusade, the Knights Templar quickly became one of the richest and most influential groups of the Middle Ages, thanks to lavish donations from the crowned heads of Europe. Eager to curry favor with the fierce knights, by the turn of the 14th century, the Templars had established a system of castles, churches, and banks throughout Western Europe, and it was this astonishing wealth that would lead to their downfall. So they started, and this is arguably the beginning of the banking system period. So obviously back then, there was no internet, there was no way, I'll jump on my app and see what my bank account is. You were in one town and you deposited money into it. Now you were going to travel to another country or another nation. And then when you were there, how did you access your money from the previous point? So you would be given a letter or a mark, identifying mark, that would show that you are a customer of this bank and the amounts that you had there. When you went to that new land or that new location, you would provide your proof. That bank would honor in that new country, so you left England, you went to Italy, you went to Rome, you went to Spain, you provided that letter or that proof that you had that money. In the institution in the other country, they would honor it and they would give you the amount that you were asking for. So similar to the withdrawal process that we'll do right now, right? With our card, with our chip in it, and into the ATM. You put that in, they confirm that you do in fact have that much money available from your institution, and then you can pull that money out of the ATM. Well, back then, none of that was possible. So you had your proof of traveling from one location to another and saying, I do business with them, this is the value that I have in that bank. And they were able to do it. The Freemasons kind of piggybacked on this or did a similar thing as well, if you found out about the Freemasons. And that it was poor, uneducated people, because back then that was normal, not to be book read, not to be educated, but you could be very skilled in what you were doing. So the Masons literally made buildings, foundations, brick and stone and mortar. And when they traveled, it was also, there was an identifying mark they would have on their fingers or on their wrist. And you would go to someone, you'd go to a new town or a new country, and you go, I'm looking for work. Can you please help me? And they go, well, why is it that I should hire you? And then you would say, well, this, my mark. And they go, okay, no problem, you're a Mason. I see that. I have work for you, no problem. And they go out of their way to find you something and make sure that you would have some work available. That's how early Masons did, how they moved from one place to another, and then they could survive from one place to another. Because if you built something, you built a temple or a church, or you helped to build something somewhere, and then you went to this other state, this other country, and they're going, I don't know who the fuck, never heard of you. Who the fuck are you? I don't care. But if you showed the mark, they knew who you were. So with this banking system, you went with your proof, whether it was written, a sign or a tattoo, whatever it was, and you said, I'm a member of this bank, this is my value, or a runner or somebody could deliver that information and update these other places and say, this person's legitimate, this is their value in it. And the Templars kind of started that. So we'll continue. For the Templars, that end began in the early morning hours of Friday, October 13th, 1307. A month earlier, secret documents had been sent by couriers throughout France. The papers included lurid details and whispers of black magic and scandalous sexual rituals. They were sent by King Philip IV of France, an avaricious monarch who in the preceding years had launched attacks on the Lombards, a powerful banking group, and France's Jews, who he had expelled so he could confiscate their property for his depleted coffers. There's something that's left out of this, and I encourage you to read the Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, because he cites all of his sources, and I believe is accurate information. The Knights Templar found the Dead Sea Scrolls, like the Lost Scrolls, and the legend was that they were to have the information of what really happened with Jesus Christ and what really happened and what the actual history of the church was. And they were alleged to have found this documentation and found those writings. And when they found that, the entire game changed. The Templars went to an entity being supported by the church to being removed from it and being attacked by it and hunted down. And that's why they said that the church now changed their view. So it was the Sangria, the Sangria, the Dead Sea Scrolls. And this was the writings of what actually happened between Jesus Christ. And that's a whole nother history that we can get into, especially with those books about the real history of Jesus and Mary, who the Christian writing of Mary was that she was a prostitute. Whereas these writings and these scrolls from the Knights Templar say that she was chosen to continue God's church. Not John and the other apostles. It was a woman who was chosen, but the church could never tolerate that. So she was branded as a whore, and that shouldn't be wanted by anyone, and there shouldn't be any women in the church, and that's why they're only nuns, and they're not priests and fathers with a more higher position. They're the nuns who do, that other side work. That Mary was a whore, and you shouldn't care anything about her. So the Knights Templar were alleged to have learned this information through these writings and through this proof. And actually having, I believe, the actual cup of Christ, right? And this is why they were hunted by the church at this point. So they were branded as traitors, demon worshippers, homosexuals, as I'm reading to you here, and they were hunted down and killed wherever they could find them. The Templars were wiped out. They did their best to hide their money in other banks, other places, and the lost scrolls. They hid those and tried to help their order as much as they could, but they were essentially wiped out by the church. So in days and weeks that followed the fateful Friday, more than 600 Templars were arrested, including Grand Master Jacques de Molay and the order's treasurer. But while some of the highest-ranking members were caught up in Philip's net, so too were hundreds of non-warriors, middle-aged men who managed the day-to-day banking and farming activities that kept the organization humming. The men were charged with a wide array of offenses, including heresy, devil worship, and spitting on the cross, homosexuality, fraud, and financial corruption. And they were literally burned at the stake and tortured for getting this information, realizing what would happen, separating themselves from the church, and then trying to give this information to the other people, and realizing that what they were representing from the church was wrong. The Templars were kept in isolation and fed meager rations that often amounted to just bread and water. Nearly all brutally tortured. One common practice used by medieval inquisitors was the strappado, in which the hands of the accused are tied behind their backs and then suspended in the air by a rope around their wrists. intended to dislocate the shoulders. As Dan Jones notes in his book, The Templars: A Rise and Spectacular Fall of the Knights Templar, one of the accused's hands were tied so tightly that blood pooled in his fingertips, and he was kept in a pit no wider than a single footstep. So imagine that, one single footstep, and they were put in a crevice. Many of the men were likely stretched on the infamous rack or had their feet dipped in oil and held over a fire to burn. Given the extreme conditions, it's not surprising that within weeks, hundreds of Templars confessed to false charges, including Jacques de Molay. Pope Clement V was horrified. Despite the fact that he'd been elected almost solely because of Philip's influence, he feared crossing the extremely popular Templars. The knight's coerced confessions, however, forced his hands. Philip, who anticipated Clement's reaction, made sure the allegations against the Templars included detailed descriptions of their supposed heresy, counting on the gossipy, salacious accounts to carry much weight with the church. Clement issued a papal bull ordering the Western kings to arrest Templars living in their lands. Few followed the papal request, but the fate of the French Templars had already been sealed. Their lands and money were confiscated and officially dispersed to another religious order, the Hospitallers, although greedy Philip did get his hands on some of the cash he coveted. Within weeks of their confessions, many of the Templars recanted, and Clement shut down the Inquisition trials in early 1308. The Templars lingered in their cells for 2 years before Philip had more than 50 of them burned at the stake in 1310. 2 years later, Clement formally dissolved the order, though he did so without saying they'd been guilty as charged. In the wake of the dissolution, some Templars again confessed to gain their freedom, while others died in captivity. In the spring of 1314, Grand Master Molay and several other Templars were burned at the stake in Paris, bringing an end to the remarkable era and launching an even longer-lasting theory about the evil possibilities of Friday the 13th. So that is where your legend, I believe, of Friday the 13th came from, was the capturing, burning, and murder of the Knights Templar. On Friday the 13th, was it 1307? Yes, Friday, October 13th, 1307. The hunting down, burning, and murder of the Knights Templar for protecting the truth of what allegedly really happened with Christ and the Virgin Mary and how the lineage moved forward. And that's a whole nother chestnut that we can get into in another day, of how the lineage of Jesus was really continued forward and who Mary really was, and etc. And we can definitely get into that down the road. If you like the show, message me at reliefvalvepodcast@aol.com for any comments, insight, issues you'd like, things you'd like me to get into, or conspiracies you'd like me to look into as well. And one of the ones we're going to be delving into after this Friday the 13th one is that the Illuminati did exist. And we're going to get into that in next week's show. They really did exist, and we're going to get into their history. And it's another thing that interests me. So there we go. So there's the conspiracy theory of, and can we prove that 100% with a Knights Templar in finding the Lost Sea Scrolls and the information that we're never going to be able to find, because I believe they were lost in the collapse of Alexandria, the Great Library of Alexandria. I think they had the Lost Sea Scrolls there, and that collapsed into the ocean. I don't know if they were able to retrieve them. If they were in an airtight room and researchers were able to swim in there and get to some of them. But for the most part, I believe they're lost. And what the Knights Templar knew were lost with them. But that's what the church went after them for. They're faithful servants, the Knights Templar. They hunted them down, burned them, and executed them for whatever was in those documents. And it was the real truth of Jesus Christ and the Virgin Mary. So, very interesting things. And if you want to learn more about it, read Dan Brown's books, Da Vinci Code, and etc. He cites all of his references and where he got all this information from, and it's a really interesting learning experience, whether you believe it or you don't. there's some interesting information there. All right, so that's the show. 2 hours and 39 minutes. Holy fuck. I hope you enjoyed it. Please donate to the show so I can keep it going. We can expand it to new levels. And I can do a fucking 3-hour show like Joe Rogan, like you want to fucking listen to me talk that much. But I hope you enjoyed it. And aside from World War III next week, we will see you next Sunday for the shitbag roundup of the Relief Valve podcast. Please give us the support, like and follow, and thanks very much.